Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. This is the 7th episode of the story, where trained as a sage, the Kyuubi by his side, and more powerful than ever, Naruto seeks to be known to the world, either by respect or by fear. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel after watching the video. So, let us begin. Fear. Anger. Excitement. All these emotions welled up inside Naruto at the moment. Why? The answer was simple. Though his situation proved quite precarious, Naruto was not one to turn down a good challenge. And a good challenge was exactly what this was. Naruto. I am merely here to speak with you, Itsuro spoke. Then you may speak, I will listen. Naruto responded. Very well. But you are a guest here, please take a seat. A seat? What kind of game was this man playing? Naruto looked at the man strangely, before taking a few steps and sitting on the leather couch. He looked at Itsuro as he began to speak once again. Naruto. You are probably wondering why I have brought you here. Naruto did not speak. He waited for Itsuro to answer his own question. Quite simple actually. I needed to make a deal with you. And I brought you to a place where I know we could talk without outward influence. Naruto took this time to ask a question. Where exactly are we then? We are in my mansion, but I'm sure you surmised that on my own. We are still in Fire Country. Naruto nodded. How many days has it been since It has been a week, Itsuro answered quickly. A week? How is it that I am awake then? Naruto asked. Itsuro smirked. Shall I say, I accelerated your healing process. Naruto looked confused. Accelerated? Hi. Let me tell you something, Naruto. You are not the only person who knows of space-time ninjutsu. Naruto smirked at this. I see, so what exactly does yours do? I call it space-time distortion. I merely am able to control space and time in any designated area. Naruto nodded. So how is it that you were able to accelerate my healing process? Simple. Itsuro paused, then spoke again. I used my jutsu on you. I merely focused on returning your body to a previous form. Naruto caught onto something. Wait, previous form you say? Itsuro smiled. I see you figured out where this is going. Can you restore me to my previous form? When I was, you need not say more. I have observed you for a while, Uzumaki. Naruto, I have seen that form and the power you possess with it. I will help you return to that form, but you see, I need your help with something too. Naruto nodded. Tell me and I will assist. Naruto though wasn't exactly sure what he was getting into. He barely knew this person, but from previous meetings, Naruto knew he was not one to play with. He was a lot stronger than Naruto, which was a fact that unsettled Naruto. With the upcoming Chunin exams will come a joint attack on Konoha, Itsuro spoke. Naruto nodded. I am guessing Cloud and Iwa's hatred of Konoha coupled with the Raikage sudden hostility towards Konoha would make it obvious. No, Naruto. It's a lot worse than that. What? Naruto asked. How? You are going to be attacked by not 2 but 3 hidden villages. Naruto's eyes widened. What 3? The hidden cloud, the hidden sand, and the hidden sound. The hidden sound? Naruto asked. Never heard of them. That was what I was getting to. Naruto. The leader of that village is none other than Orochimaru of the Sannin. Naruto took in this information, and he plans to attack his home? Yes. Those villages will send their genin in, and once they make it to the finals their leader will be allowed to come and watch. That is when they will strike. Naruto nodded. And you need my help for what reason? Itsuro spoke. Orochimaru. Though he wants the downfall of Konoha, he has a different goal. Sasuke. Naruto finished. Itsuro looked surprised. Yes. He plans to use Sasuke as his next body? Naruto asked. A look of surprise crossed Itsuro's face once again. He will most likely attack your team during the second stage of the Chunin exams inside the Forest of Death, and you want me to protect Sasuke? No, Itsuro answered simply. I have a much more difficult job for you. Then please speak. Very well, you see, Orochimaru has been a pain. We need him to be eliminated. You want me to kill Orochimaru? Can't you do that on your own? No and yes but no. I have measured your strength, and even though I am sure you have grown since our last meeting, you are no match for Orochimaru. You may be able to hold him off, even hurt him, but he will defeat you. Secondly, the reason I have not taken such action as killing him is because of the Akatsuki. Akatsuki? I would explain more, but for now, all you need to know is that there are other members. Getting close to him is near impossible. My spies say that he may be out of the Akatsuki, but I'm not really in the mood to take a risk like that. Naruto nodded. I see. So what exactly do you require of me? Itsuro smirked. I know you are good with seals. I have constructed one. I merely require you to seal Orochimaru when he attacks you. Naruto understood. I see. What exactly does your seal do? I guess you could say it will weaken him to the point where I can kill him without a fight. I do not want my skills revealed to any onlookers of the fight. I see. Is that all? Yes, if you successfully complete that task, I will find you in the Forest of Death, and I will revert you to your, shall I say, berserker form. Hi, but for now Naruto, go back to Konoha. Naruto took this time to ask a question. And what do I say when they ask where I was? You say that you rescued Kurenai Yuhi, and gave her to someone you trusted. That would be me. Zack interrupted, a smile on his face. Naruto nodded. Is that it? Hi Naruto, we will meet again, and sooner than you may think. Do you see my little group here? I am holding a spot for you. Naruto took a little surprise because of this. Really? Hi. Naruto nodded. Here is your sword. Itsuro spoke, and he put his hand together, as if praying. Naruto could tell that he was sending chakra to the palm of his hand. Then in a quick movement, he thrust the palm of his left hand into the ground. He then slowly raised it, Naruto's sword coming up from the earth. Naruto's eyes widened as Itsuro tossed Naruto his sword. Now be on your way Naruto, I will send you back to the fishing town. I'm sure a team of ANBU has arrived on the scene by now. If you're lucky you may meet up with them. Naruto nodded. Wait? You'll send me? Hi, Itsuro responded while finishing his hand seals. He then pointed both hands at Naruto, palms facing him. A purple cube formed around Naruto in a flash. Spatial distortion, and with that, the cube compressed to a microscopic size, Naruto disappearing along with it. XXXXXX. No luck whatsoever. The whole town had been searched thoroughly, with no sign of Naruto. As Kakashi landed joining the group, Tenzo spoke. No sign. Same here. Kane spoke. Kakashi nodded. No sign of him either. It would seem this mission has come to a dead end. Kane nodded. So then what's the plan? Tenzo was the one who spoke. We follow protocol. Return to Konoha and suppose that Naruto is Kia. Kane nodded. Though it was harsh to accept, Naruto was truly nowhere to be found. Perhaps he truly was dead. Okay, let's head out, Kakashi spoke, and jumped away. The other members of the team following suit. If Naruto was truly dead, it spelled badly not just for Naruto, but for Konoha. With the upcoming invasion, Naruto as a Jinchuriki was crucial, considering the fact that Kumo had two. Naruto. He had to die at this time, didn't he? XX. The feeling was uncomfortable to say the least. Like you were being squeezed tighter than you could bear. It was a feeling Naruto didn't recognize, and a feeling he would have rather avoided. Naruto landed, his knees buckling under him at the sudden movement. Luckily, he landed on a nice soft patch of grass within a green meadow. Naruto took this time to survey his surroundings. He looked to his right, noticing wood fences used to keep in farm animals. Naruto stood up, sword on his back. He cracked his knuckles, then rolled his head, satisfied at the many cracks he heard as he tilted his head from side to side. Well, then to Konoha were Naruto's thoughts as he leapt out of the field, running towards the direction of the hidden leaf. XXX. The team jumped from tree to tree, traveling ever closer to Konoha. They were disappointed at the mission's failure, though none of them showed it. They had truly hoped to find Naruto, but with Naruto gone, preparations for the coming storm still had to be made. With or without Naruto, Konoha would not fall. XXXXX. Naruto jumped from tree to tree. His current path was in the direction of Konoha. Using his Sage abilities, he was able to detect the Konoha squad that consisted of Kakashi, and Kane. The last member Naruto did not recognize, but he could detect some sort of speciality with him, so Naruto continued on his path, soon to meet the Konoha group XXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX could have gone a lot better. For one, they could have at least found a trace of where Naruto could have been, but no, nothing at all. And scary of all, the mountain that Intel had said had collapsed was absolutely fine. Even the supposed bandit hideout that caved in was unscathed. Not even any signs of battle were inside. It just didn't add up. Where was Naruto, and why was all this bizarre stuff happening? It seemed that paranormal events always had something to do with Naruto. Of course, the biggest and worst of all was directly related to Naruto, but that was something that Konoha would never forget. Kakashi, Kane's voice halted the team. Kane was sure that he couldn't have been the only one that had. Hi Tenzo. Tenzo nodded. How do we proceed? We continue on, change into a defensive formation. We don't know the intentions of this person, nor do we know his strength. It is better to be cautious, Kakashi spoke. Kane and Tenzo nodded in approval, ready to carry out the plan. The team jumped and in air got into a triangular formation, with Kakashi at the lead, Tenzo and Kane flanking. He's getting closer, Kane thought. Be ready, Hi. A sudden movement in front of the group halted their progress, each person landing on a tree branch and getting into position. Kane reaching for his swords, and Kakashi reaching for his kunai pouch. I am not a hostile. Kane recognized that voice. In fact, he couldn't miss it. Naruto. A smirk was on Naruto's face as he removed his hood, showing his face to the world. Hi, it is I, Naruto spoke. Nobody spoke. A mixture of confusion and utter surprise rested upon the members of the team. Nobody seemed to be able to convey exactly what they were thinking into words. It was Kakashi who spoke. Naruto, what happened to you? Naruto looked at Kakashi and thought about his answer. Telling him the whole story will not be beneficial to me. It will only mean answering harder questions later. I will tell the Hokage of the events of my mission once we reach Konoha. Kakashi nodded, his mind still not truly able to comprehend Naruto appearing before them. Kane smirked. Well then, let's be on our way. XXXXXX. The day was already hard for Hiruzen Sarutobi. Word had spread of Naruto's disappearance and of course, a council meeting was called into effect immediately. Everything was discussed, words were thrown around, and it was just not a fun experience. But the only thing the Hokage could do now was sigh as he looked at Naruto standing in front of him. Naruto, the same Naruto who had been reported missing, the same Naruto who was the cause of the Jounin Kurenai Yuhi's bizarre return, the same Naruto who had caused the whole village to turn into Gossip City, the same Naruto that caused the council to almost fully question Sarutobi's own integrity. Naruto was truly a pain in the side at times, but Naruto was actually crucial to have at this time. The coming storm would prove difficult without Naruto, so though Sarutobi had many thoughts about Naruto at this time, he managed to come out and say something positive. Oh Naruto, what have you been up to this time? Naruto could only sigh as he sat in the chair across from the Hokage. They met gazes for a moment, before Naruto looked upward, seeming to be pondering upon something. Well, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. Try me, I've seen a lot of things at my age. Naruto nodded. I don't believe I can reveal too much, though I'm going to have to ask you to trust me on this, Hokage-sama. I have crucial information regarding the coming Chunin exams, but in return, I need you to trust me when I say that the whole story will be revealed at a later time. The Hokage pondered upon Naruto's answer. Naruto, as the Hokage, I am tasked to the very survival of this village, though any information at this time is valuable. Any information you hold out on me may also come at Konoha's detriment. Do you understand this? Naruto nodded. Well Hokage-sama, I do understand. The very proof of this is the fact that I did not freak out on you, so to speak, when the nine-tailed fox in me took its reveal. Sarutobi sighed. That was always a sour topic. Keeping the nine tails a secret from Naruto was always a top priority even at this age. He hadn't thought Naruto would have known yet, but of course, nothing with Naruto usually went as planned. Very well Naruto, so what is this about the coming Chunin exams? Naruto nodded. I'm sure from events you have already surmised that Lightning plans to infiltrate and attack. The Hokage nodded. I'm impressed you figured out that much too. Naruto shook his head. No, that's not all. What you don't know is that not only Lightning will attack but also the Hidden Sand, and the Hidden Sound villages. The Hokage's eyes widened in surprise. What? But we and the hidden sand are allies. The Treaty of Dash, I'm sure you know this better than I do, Hokage-sama, Naruto spoke in all seriousness, but paper and pen mean nothing in the world of shinobi. Sarutobi grit his teeth. He knew it was the cold hard truth, he just didn't want to accept it. It was then that the true reality of the situation dawned on him, wait, with our only allies being the hidden sand and them attacking. We will have no support when facing the brute force of 3 combined hidden villages. Naruto nodded. I figured this out also. Orochimaru has a part to play also, he is the leader of the hidden sound. If the Hokage's eyes could have widened more, they would have. Orochimaru. So, he is behind this also. Hi, Naruto spoke. Now I believe we should talk strategy. The Hokage nodded. I trust you, Naruto. What do you suggest? Well, firstly, anything I say I want you to pass on to Shikaku. With his IQ, any flaws that may present themselves in my plan should be patched. Very well, Naruto nodded. Well, from what I found out, they are going to attack during the final stage of the Chunin exams. The tournament, during? I had thought they would have done it right after, or right before. No, during the third and final stage, the attack will commence. I know not of the specifics of the attack, but I believe that overconfidence will be our advantage, and their downfall. The Hokage nodded. How so? Naruto continued. With the very thought of 3 hidden villages going up against 1, confidence will swell in our enemies. Now overconfidence often leaves openings. The Hokage nodded. I see. So they will be more vulnerable to a possible counterattack during the invasion. They will not expect us to proceed with such actions when the odds are so greatly in their favor. Hi, Naruto responded, then spoke. Also, I believe they are largely basing their percentage of victory on the fact that they have 3 Jinchuriki on their side. It was the Hokage's turn to be surprised once again. 3. Hi, Gaara of the desert, who holds Shikaku the sand spirit. Then there is Yujito Ni. I believe you met her. She was with the Raikage during the meetings. She holds the Nibi, the 2-tailed cat, and finally and most scary of all, is Killer Bee. He holds the 8-tailed octopus. God, how are we supposed to cope? Well, we have 2 Jinchuriki on our side, also myself and Kane. Now Kane and I will have no problem with Gaara and Yujito, but Killer Bee will prove to be a large problem. Killer Bee. I have heard of him. Hi, I had the opportunity to fight him. I must say, I am truly no match for him. The Hokage sighed. He holds the title of Perfect Jinchuriki for a reason. He has had years to practice with his inner beast, and learn to fight with it. You, I'm sure, have barely scratched the surface. Naruto nodded. But there is one thing I will not tell you what. But something will happen in the forest of death. I will regain my lost power. The Hokage looked confused. Lost power? Oh, I'm sure you know that I was sealed. The room went coldly silent at this point. The Hokage's face couldn't hide the surprise, nor the recognition of exactly what Naruto was talking about. Caught. Naruto, no. There is no longer a need to apologize. I should be the one to apologize. Actually, it would seem that the effects of the seal were only temporary, though I'm sure you would have wished otherwise. Naruto, the reason for the seal was dash. Naruto cut the Hokage off. The reason was my instability, but I believe I can cope with it. Naruto, your bloodlust was immense. Even we in Konoha could feel it at the time. Jiraiya said you fought that IWA bomber ninja. Daidara, a fun fight indeed. He almost killed me though, Naruto said while smirking, perhaps having a little bit too much fun recounting the memory. Naruto, I implore you to see reason. No, this has been decided. Hokage-sama, I'm sure you know more than anyone the possibilities of that form. Yes, I do know, but the risks are dash. The risks, Hokage-sama, are well worth the reward. This is the only way I'll be able to stand up against Killer Bee. I'm sure you more than anyone realize that. The Hokage stopped in his tracks. Naruto could see that the message had finally sunken in. Naruto knew the Hokage cared about him. Naruto knew that the Hokage would do anything to make sure Naruto was alright, but Naruto also knew that the Hokage would put the village over just him. If there was a choice between saving just Naruto and saving the village would come first. Naruto knew this, but it did not sadden him in the slightest. In fact, he quite enjoyed living on the wild side. Of course, the Hokage limited that, but finally he would get back to living once again. You would put the village over just me. You know that it's the only way unless you can find someone to match him. I hate to say it, but I don't believe even Kakashi can match him. You forget Jiraiya, the Hokage interjected. The fight would be very close, but I'm not sure if Jiraiya could come out on top. The beast inside of Killer Bee gives him a huge advantage. And from my own experiences with wielding the sheer power the Kyuubi possesses, it will be difficult to stop Killer Bee without a beast of your own." The Hokage nodded. "Very well, do what you must." Naruto nodded. "Now getting back to battle plans, my plan is to firstly evacuate the citizens in the arena. That will be priority number one. I have information that says that Orochimaru himself will be after Sasuke." "What? We'll have to put ANBU Black Ops on him then." "No, Sasuke will be fine. I will look after him personally when the attack begins. I will personally take care of Killer Bee. I will task Kane to Yujito, while Gaara can be dealt with by Kakashi or Jiraiya. I suggest by Jiraiya. As a seal's master, it shouldn't take him much energy to deal with such an untrained host." The Hokage nodded. "But what about the Raikage? I know of his strength firsthand. He is not one to be trampled with. You are the only one suitable to take him on, though I suggest you and one other gang up on him, possibly Kakashi. But then Orochimaru Do not worry of Orochimaru. I ask you to trust me on this. He will be dealt with." The Hokage wasn't sure what to say about this. Orochimaru presented a huge problem if he was on the battlefield, but here was Naruto, who seemed to not care about his very presence. But if Orochimaru is, he will not be end of discussion. The Hokage's brow furrowed, but he accepted Naruto's answer. "Very well." Naruto nodded. "Well, I believe that the plan should be passed on and revised. But I believe it will serve as a base. The most important thing in this invasion is to isolate and defeat the Jinchuriki. Just releasing their inner demons can be enough to destroy Konoha, so they will have to be defeated before that can happen." The Hokage nodded. "Well, I have a suggestion. Please, speak your mind. Is it possible for this Gaara of the desert to be eliminated beforehand, perhaps during the Forest of Death?" Naruto grit his teeth as his head began to hurt for a moment. Words flashed in his head. "So there's no hope for him then? I never said that. Do not fret, we will meet again, and perhaps I may be able to help you then." "No, killing Gaara was not a part of my plan. With his seal, the Shikaku could be released. Reconstructing it on the battlefield would be a dangerous operation, with most likely disastrous effects. I did not plan to kill Gaara." The Hokage nodded. "Very well, so, is this all you know?" Naruto nodded. The Hokage nodded in response. "Very well. Then you are dismissed." "Hi." Naruto spoke, and sun shined out of sight, and all the Hokage could do was sigh. Truly, the coming month would be action-packed. It would be a crazy ride indeed, but hopefully, with Naruto at the helm, Konoha could brave this and come out strong. Unfortunately, Sarutobi found that he did not even believe his own words. Naruto's morning was greeted by a shiver from the frosting cold as he stood up from bed. Today was the day. Shinobi from other villages were set to arrive today, though nobody else in his age group knew. Naruto had asked Kakashi, and Kakashi had politely told him he had a plan in mind. First things first, he needed to find Gaara when he showed up. There was just something drawing him to Gaara, that Naruto just did not know, the feeling of a need to try and help him somehow. But Naruto buried those feelings and cleansed his thoughts as he entered the cold shower. XXXXX Kane sat atop the Hokage's monument. As the sun rose, he knew what today entailed. The participants of the Chunin exams would all arrive today. And their arrival would set off a chain of events which could possibly break Konoha to its very core. Today was the day. It was not tomorrow, nor was it yesterday. There was no getting around the fact, and even as he knew the participants would arrive in the evening, he couldn't help but feel slightly anxious. Kane grit his teeth, looking upwards at the darkened but quickly brightening sky. The day would soon come that decided Konoha's fate. XXX The market was bustling with activity this early morning as Naruto walked through. Ichiraku ramen for breakfast wasn't exactly the most nutritious option, but nonetheless, Naruto walked. Nothing changes. As the stares from the villagers continued as Naruto walked, he found himself thinking about all of it. The Kyuubi attack, the sealing. But what confused Naruto was one annoying and troublesome question. One which he could not formulate an answer for. Why had the Yondaime chosen him of all people to seal the beast in? Why him? Why was he the only baby that had been born on that day? All others died in a fire. From Jiraiya's recount. Why choose Naruto, a normal, blonde-haired boy, a boy who had his whole life in front of him? But now that was all gone. Now, Naruto's only knowledge was to kill that which threatened his existence. Perhaps that was why the Yondaime had chosen him, to entrust that Naruto had the ability to become the sole jailer to the Kyuubi, and all the troubles that came with it. But it still bugged him, the only child who had survived, the one to be sealed. Why disappear? And with that, Naruto dropped out of existence. XXXXX Uchiha. The name brought pride to Konoha, but to Sasuke it was dreadful. Known as the last Uchiha, he was expected to be the savior of the clan, that one shining hope to bring back the once glorious clan of Uchiha back to Konoha. At first, Sasuke loved the name. It meant popularity, it meant he was someone important. Now as Sasuke thought of his name, he saw it as no more than a burden. Everyone had their views of him and he was expected to live up to them. At first he liked the attention, but that was before Naruto. When Naruto showed up, it became evident that he truly was not who he thought he was. He wasn't the strongest there could be. In fact, compared to Naruto, Sasuke was pathetically weak. Sasuke grit his teeth, staring at his ramen. He knew not why he had chosen this ramen stand to come to. He felt like he needed to talk to Naruto, and he thought Naruto might be here. The beating Naruto had given him during the tournament, it showed him that there truly was a difference between having potential and being strong. Strength. Where did Naruto's strength come from? He seemed as if all he was a killing machine, like he was built for the job of Shinobi. Was that possible? Then why was Sasuke not like that? If it was the key to becoming strong, why weren't more Shinobi just like Naruto? Because if that were so, the whole of Konoha would have to be an asylum. Sasuke didn't really like that answer. But he figured, if there was any way to become strong, it would be by following Naruto. XXXX, a bit far from Ichiraku's, don't you think? Naruto knew that voice. Hi, but I figured I would take the scenic route. Naruto's voice was calm and sarcastic. Kane's response, however, was totally serious, or perhaps it is an escape. Naruto's brow furrowed, and just what would I want to be escaping? Naruto knew the answer, and he had a feeling Kane knew it too. You haven't gotten over the villagers yet, have you? The villagers can burn for all I care, but you will protect this village. Naruto turned to actually look at Kane. He was surprised when he saw the outfit. He wore a red t-shirt with the black accents on the edges. He wore black jeans also, and a leather belt with metal accents. He wore a red overcoat also, with the spiral of Konoha on the back. There was also a hood on it. It kind of reminded Naruto of what he dressed like when he had first showed up in Konoha. What surprised Naruto even more were the twin blades which rested in an X upon Kane's back. And what are those blades? A gift from Hay-8. Naruto nodded. He always had a kindred spirit. Oh, Sasuke has a sword too now. I saw it on his back when he was walking. Naruto looked surprised at this turn of events. Also, he did not expect Sasuke to have a sword. Interesting. So heading to Ichiraku? Kane asked. Naruto nodded. I'm coming and you're paying. Naruto rolled his eyes, then turned around, walking out of the alley. Kane followed closely behind. XXXX Sasuke, surprised by his name being called, Sasuke looked to his right. Who sat in the stool was none other than Sakura. Sakura. For some reason, she looked different. She didn't have that crazed adoring look that she usually had when she saw Sasuke, and though it was a relief to Sasuke, it was also something suspicious. What had changed Sakura? Same person that changes everyone. Sasuke found himself thinking Sakura looked like she was trying to find what to say. Usually it was just like, date me Sasuke, or go out with me. This definitely wasn't a good sign. Sasuke. It's about Naruto. Sasuke finished for her. Sakura looked surprised, then she spoke. Yeah, so what about Naruto? I found out stuff from Kane about him. At the name, Sasuke grit his teeth. He and Kane weren't on the best of terms the last time they met. They fought with Sasuke's anger getting the better of him, and even so, that time Sasuke was absolutely demolished. Stuff. What stuff? Sasuke. Naruto, he hates this village. This came as a surprise as Sasuke's face lit up, paying full attention now. What do you mean he hates the village? Exactly that. If he hated the village he wouldn't be here. Sakura nodded. She had done a lot of thinking about Naruto after she had talked with Kane. For some reason, he was just interesting. Naruto, that is, he was still more or less an enigma. All Sakura knew was that he harbored a hatred for the village, but still fought for it. He is incredibly powerful and ever growing stronger. He has the potential to surpass Kage. I know I was confused too. But then I thought about it and figured it out. Sasuke waited for Sakura's answer, fully interested. Naruto dash, Sakura. Sakura was fully surprised as she turned around, seeing not only the source of the sound but his companion. Sasuke also followed Sakura's stare. And there they were, imposing as ever. Kane stood right outside the ramen stand, looking at Sakura, and behind him was the hooded figure of Naruto, his face hidden within a veil of shadows. "Oh, hi Kane," Sasuke grit his teeth, but hid his anger. Kane angered Sasuke, and he did not know why he held a grudge towards Kane. He felt as if Kane was the person he needed to defeat. "I didn't expect to find you guys here, Sasuke." Sakura smiled. "I just was in the mood for some ramen." Sasuke still had not spoken. "Well, mind if we take our seats?" "Not at all," and with that, Kane and Naruto sat in 2 seats. The 4 of them sat. Naruto and Kane ordered their ramen. "So, you guys in the Chunin exams?" Naruto's smirk was missed. This question was a surprise to both Sasuke and Sakura. Yes, they both knew what the Chunin exams were, but they had had no notifications. "Sasuke," it was Naruto's dark voice who spoke. Sasuke put his attention to Naruto. "I'm sure you won't miss a good challenge." Sasuke smirked at this. If he was allowed to take the Chunin exams, you better bet that he would be in them. "I believe that Kakashi will give us our permission slips when he meets us later today." Sasuke nodded at this, while Sakura had been more quiet than usual. Sasuke noticed Sakura's quietness and addressed it. "How about you, Sakura?" What a question. The choice was this: disappoint Sasuke and tell him the truth, that she was nervous about the exams, or agree to the exams but be a burden during them. It didn't take a genius to figure out that she was a burden to the team. Sasuke could more or less handle himself with almost any kind of adversary, and Naruto could, for lack of a better term, obliterate any competition he came across. But what could Sakura do? Sakura was taken out of her stupor by the sound of Naruto's voice. For once, it sounded gentle. "Sasuke and I will be at your side, do not fret." It seemed as if everyone at the stand seemed surprised by Naruto's response. It was normal, not even that it sounded actually caring. Sakura nodded. "Yeah, I know, I guess I will take the exams." Naruto nodded. "Good, well then, I must be off." "What? You just got here?" Sakura spoke. That was when everyone looked to Naruto's ramen bowl and saw that it was empty. Surprise dawned on everyone's face as the same thought crossed their mind. "I didn't even see him go for his food," and with that, Naruto stood up and blurred out of sight, "XXXXXX, ready when you're." Tenten nodded as he held her katana in her right hand. She took up a pretty standard stance, and loosened her grip on the blade ever so slightly as to not be too stiff. Tenten rushed forward, sword in hand. She swung at Naruto's head. Naruto ducked under the blade, and attempted to leg sweep Tenten. Tenten jumped up and over Naruto, and when she landed, she rushed forward once again. Naruto parried her strike, then dodged the next. He then blocked the next. As Tenten made her next swing, Naruto met her blade and with his own, pushed hers outward, leaving her open. Then, Naruto punched Tenten in the gut, sending her to the ground. Then, he jumped back. "Is that all you've got? Because if it is, then that was quite pathetic." Tenten grit her teeth, getting up in anger. "Good, use that anger, just don't let it control." Too late. Tenten rushed forward once again and wildly swung at Naruto's midsection. Naruto blocked the strike, then slid his blade back, putting Tenten off balance as she began to fall forward. Naruto spun horizontally in mid-air, then descended on Tenten. Tenten jumped forward, rolling as he impacted the ground, just as he heard the resounding sound of Naruto hitting the ground with his attack. As Naruto landed, he blurred out of sight. Crap! Naruto appeared behind Tenten and swung at her head. Tenten ducked, then attempted to elbow Naruto. Another bad idea. Naruto caught her elbow, then using it as a lever, he jumped and scissors kicked Tenten. Tenten went flying backwards from the attack, and landed in a heap. Though, she quickly got up, staring straight at Naruto. Naruto had on a maniacal grin. Tenten couldn't help but have the feeling that he might have been enjoying this a little too much. Naruto began running forward, but then blurred. He appeared less than a foot in front of Tenten. Tenten had just enough time to put up a guard to block the strike as Naruto came in, but the force of Naruto's blade sent Tenten's blade and arm to her left. Using his momentum, Naruto spun clockwise in a blur of movement, and finished by slicing Tenten across the chest. Arg! Tenten jumped backwards after the hit, and as she landed she knelt. She observed the damage. It wasn't very deep, but she couldn't help but feel slightly exposed as her shirt was cut across the chest. "We are not done, stand." Tenten obeyed and stood quickly. She then decided to rush Naruto again. "Another bad idea, Jiraiya." "Naruto, I hope that isn't all you've got." Naruto grit his teeth. "I might need a break." "No. You don't get a break." Naruto looked astonished at this. Naruto, sometimes the best way for somebody to learn. As he said this, he blurred out of sight. "Is to beat the shit out of you." The voice came from behind Naruto, and he barely had any time to put up a guard. Tenten struck at Naruto. Naruto ducked under the strike, then blurred out of sight. Shadow Leaf Dance. Tenten's eyes widened as Naruto reappeared under Tenten, and kicked the underside of Tenten's jaw, sending her flying into the air. Naruto then threw his sword upwards at Tenten, spinning like a boomerang. The sword flew by Tenten, slicing her multiple times in the process while still going upwards. As Tenten saw the sword continue its path upwards, her vision was cut off as Naruto appeared over her. Naruto then delivered a brutal axe kick to Tenten, sending her propelling back down to earth. Thud. Pain. That was what she felt. Broken bones, at least 5. Her morale was down simply because it seemed as if Naruto wasn't even trying at all. As she lay on the ground, she felt beaten, but at least it was over. Tenten sought to close her eyes and take some rest, but a sight unnerved her. Naruto's sword coming down from high. It was falling straight towards her, and at its current trajectory, it would impale her in the stomach. But she was too sore to move. This was a real dilemma. As the sword was about to go through her, a hand reached out over her, grabbing the sword by the hilt. The end of the blade was just barely at her stomach. As Naruto held his blade and moved it from over Tenten, he took a step back. He then addressed her. "Stand." She was very tired, but she managed to mumble out words. "Can I have a rest?" "No." Tenten was surprised at this. "What do you mean no?" "What I mean, Tenten, is that on the battlefield your opponent will not give you the opportunity to rest if you can't find the will now. How will you on the battlefield?" Tenten grit her teeth, but nodded as she struggled to stand. Though it may have taken her longer than she had hoped, she managed to stand. "Now then, come at me again." XXXXXX. Sasuke held his sword in a reverse grip, striking at Hayate, who seemed to just continuously parry his strikes. It was the most frustrating feeling ever. Sasuke spun horizontally in the air, and struck down on Hayate, who parried the strike yet again. Then, Sasuke attempted to strike at Hayate's feet. He jumped over the blade, and kicked out at Sasuke. Sasuke blocked the kick with his free hand, then brought up his blade. Hayate saw this, then using Sasuke's hand as a fulcrum, he propelled away as Sasuke's blade sliced through where he just was. As Hayate landed, he couldn't help but be slightly impressed by what he had seen. Sasuke was not bad at all. The fact that he was able to remain calm and collected though Hayate had just been continuously parrying his blows was impressive enough, but the fact that Sasuke held some technique. It seemed as if the saber grip type katana with Sasuke's own reverse style grip was a great combination. "Sasuke, that's enough for today. I am told you have to meet your Jounin sensei at this time." Sasuke looked slightly surprised. He hadn't expected time to have gone by so fast. "Oh, better get going." Sasuke nodded. "Then you Hayate sensei." Hayate nodded. "I will get your next lesson time to you through Kakashi." Sasuke nodded as he sheathed his blade, and began to exit. As he was out of sight, Hayate smiled. Konoha had some fine young swordsmen. Perhaps Kenjutsu was not dead. XXXXXX. The team had assembled. And for once, Kakashi was there waiting for them. "That couldn't spell good news. I'm sure you're wondering why I called you all here." Naruto couldn't hide his smirk, and this did not go unnoticed by Kakashi. "Well, I'm sure you've all heard at least some talk about the upcoming Chunin exams." Sasuke and Sakura nodded, already getting an idea of where this was going, so, Kakashi reached into a pocket, and pulled out 3 slips of paper. "Here are your permission slips," and so it began. XXXX, flashback. Kakashi Hayate, Jounin sensei of Team 7, which consists of Uchiha Sasuke, Haruno Sakura, and Uzumaki Naruto hereby elect my students to take the Chunin exams, and the crowd went into gasps and mumbled conversations. Nobody could hide their surprise. Kakashi. You've got to be joking. The Chunin exam is a serious deal. I've taught all of these kids and I can tell you that what can you say, Irika, that my team is not ready? I assure you quite the opposite. Okay, maybe Naruto might be ready for the exams, but Sasuke is a hothead and lets his emotions get in the way. Sakura is feisty, but I believe she lacks the necessary skills needed. If you put your team into the exams they could die. Irika, you may not have noticed this, but they aren't your students anymore, they're mine. Kakashi. Kurenai interrupted. That's enough. No, Kurenai, he has to hear this. Irika, you don't see what I see in this team, and you are not their sensei. It is my decision to make, but Sasuke has the necessary skills to become Chunin level. Though he may let his temperament get the better of him, he still manages to compose himself. Kakashi spoke. Sakura is extremely smart. Though her skills may be lacking, she can think about ways to get through a situation, and formulate plans. And finally, Naruto, I saw Naruto fight in the Genin examinations just as you did. Let me tell you, he possessed Chunin level strength then, but he was holding back a lot, and silence followed. As a team I am confident that they will be able to get through these exams. Irika could do nothing but grit his teeth. I agree with Kakashi. Irika, they are no longer your students, and if Kakashi thinks Team 7 is able, I trust him, the Hokage spoke. And that was the end of that conversation. Flashback end. XXX. As evening dawned, the contestants began to arrive. As Naruto and Kane stood atop the Hokage monument watching as shinobi from other villages began to roll in, various thoughts crossed their minds. It's time. Yeah, Kane spoke. You ready for this? Kane smirked. I was born ready. The dawn before the fateful day soon came. The contestants to Naruto's knowledge had all arrived, and the next morning, the Chunin exams were to begin. A meeting with their Jounin sensei was scheduled this morning at 8 o'clock, but naturally, that meant around 10:30 if not later. Naruto looked at himself once over in the mirror. He had decided to change his outfit once more. Give it a test run before the actual exam. He wore a long-sleeve red shirt. Over it, he had another long-sleeve cloak-type shirt with a hood. The shirt itself was black but the accents of it were red. He tied the cloak around himself so it fit him around like a normal shirt. He also wore black cargo pants with a red fox going down the side. Think of Ezio from Assassin's Creed 2, but all black outfit. As the first rays of sun came through Naruto's window, he couldn't hide his excitement. The day of reckoning would soon be upon Konoha. The day that decided its fate, and Naruto couldn't be more excited. As he reached to his shelf and grabbed a Foxsage mask, he found his mind was racing. Everything would soon come into play. All the Jounin had been informed about the situation, but had been told to keep details on a need-to-know basis, meaning that non-shinobi did not need to know. Also, they could not tell their Genin teams if they had any. Unless, of course, their life was truly in danger. As he crescented on the Fox mask, just trying it on. When he was satisfied, he took it off, sealing it in a small scroll and pocketing it. Then, he lifted his hood over his head. Now, only his mouth was visible, the rest of his face hidden under a veil of shadows. Naruto made a few one-handed seals, then touched the floor beside his bed. As it should have, a floor panel came loose. Naruto gripped the panel with his gauntlet hand, and lifted it up. Hidden there, his sword. Naruto picked up the blade, examined it, then fastened it to his back. Then, he closed the floorboard. Next, he reached into his closet, pulling out a pouch. He fastened the pouch on his back, right under his sword. Then, he went back into the closet, pulling out some sort of device. It was some kind of arm brace. Naruto pulled off his gauntlet, revealing the skin of his left hand burns and scars. His left hand was littered with these. As Naruto looked at the hand briefly, he slid on the arm brace. It fit on his forearm just below the elbow. Then, Naruto put his gauntlet back on. As the gauntlet slid in and reached the brace, a click was heard as they reached. Naruto was satisfied as the two fastened together. Now, Naruto needed to test it. Naruto tensed his hand. In a heartbeat, a kunai on a metal rod shot down from the brace and it stopped when the kunai rested upon Naruto's hand. Naruto then gripped the kunai as the metal rod retracted quickly. He then turned, throwing it at the wall. Plunk bullseye. Now it was time for the last part of his new outfit. As a ninja of Konoha participating in the exams, he would have to finally wear his headband. Though Anbu could have the Konoha leaf insignia tattooed on their arm, as Naruto did not plan to stay in Konoha for that long, there was no need for such action. So, Naruto fastened the band to his forehead, though it was hidden in the shadows along with the rest of his upper face. Still, it would have to suffice. And that was that XXXX. As Naruto entered the training field, he noticed something was definitely off. Something. Hey Naruto, Sakura. It would seem she had gotten some guts. Sakura quiet. Sakura looked upset, but before she could say anything else, Naruto spoke again. You don't sense it, do you? Something's off. Sasuke quickly nodded. I kinda had a feeling in my gut. Naruto nodded at this. It was good that Sasuke could at least sense some danger. Else, their team might have a serious dilemma. But then again, Sakura couldn't sense it. SSPPPHHH. The sound could not be mistaken. That right there was the sound of a shuriken whizzing through the air. Naruto caught sight of 3 shuriken going towards them. He reached for the hilt of his sword. As he grabbed onto it, the bandages around the blade exploded in a flurrying outburst of wind. Just as this happened, Naruto heard the sound of moving earth, and looked down to see a hand pop out of the ground and grab his ankle. The movement was too quick to dodge. Naruto's eyes widened as the shuriken kept coming. He quickly looked to Sakura, who had not yet even heard the shuriken, but was for some reason looking at Sasuke's legs. Naruto then looked towards Sasuke to see that another hand had come out of the earth, trapping Sasuke also. So that was the plan. Counter the effective people in the group, then attack all 3 at once. A simple but effective plan. But not good enough. Disappear and Naruto was gone. But only for a moment. He returned in midair as the shuriken came, his leg now free. As the shuriken came, Naruto deflected each one quickly, then blurred out of sight. Give up, the voice surprised the masked man. He attempted to turn his head behind him to see his assailant. No, you move, I kill you. The man obeyed, but strangely, he began to laugh. Naruto was confused, but realization dawned on him as he held up his left hand and made a one-handed ram seal. Kai, the genjutsu quickly faded away as the man in front of Naruto was nothing more than an illusion. Shit! Naruto thought. Naruto was now worried about the level of these attackers. He decided to release his own gravity seals. Kai! Naruto yelled. Nothing. Naruto looked stunned at the fact that nothing in the slightest happened. He tried yet again. Kai! Nothing. I guess I should have told you, mortal, Nanny. Your gravity seals are gone. I detected their destruction around the time you were captured by that man. Naruto nodded. I had felt lighter the past days, so this is why. I suggest you keep like this. It is sometimes a hindrance, and also, you are already at a high enough speed. Also, with space-time ninjutsu, speed is not a real issue. Naruto nodded and took the Kyuubi's advice. Now make haste. They are most likely attacking the rest of your team. Naruto nodded yet again, but before that I should see if I recognize them, and as he said this, he expanded his sage senses. It was a surprise once Naruto found their identity. What? Sasuke blocked the kick, then grabbed the person's leg. He then flipped him over, and started his hand seals. Fire style, fireball jutsu. A fireball flew out of Sasuke's mouth and sped towards the mid-air ninja. He started his own seals. Water style, water wall. Still in mid-air, a wall of water formed around him, and as the fireball hit, steam formed. Sasuke grit his teeth. This man was no joke. Sasuke quickly looked over to Sakura. She ducked under a punch from the figure, then got kicked in the side. She was thrown and landed hard. Sakura. But Sasuke's own senses of danger went off, and he turned to see the figure right on him. Time to die. It was over. The attack was too fast for Sasuke to react to. He would die. Crackle! A hand came out from the figure's stomach. On that hand was red lightning. Naruto, keep your guard up. This is a clone. And sure enough, the figure Naruto just dispatched disappeared in a plume of smoke. The lightning in Naruto's left hand still cracked with electricity as Sasuke and Naruto stood back to back. Shadow clone jutsu, no seals necessary. A clone appeared next to Naruto, and that clone rushed to help Sakura. So what's the plan? Sasuke asked. Naruto smirked. Simple, regroup then attack. Sasuke nodded. And how do you suppose we get about the regrouping? Simple, hold on to me. Sasuke did as told and held on to Naruto. Disappear! Naruto disappeared from sight, but quickly reappeared beside of Sakura. He grabbed her. WOAH, disappear, and all three genin were out of sight. XXX Naruto was on one knee as he panted. He had just used his space-time ninjutsu 3 times in a short period of time. So naturally, he was starting to grow exhausted. Naruto, you okay? Naruto nodded. That jutsu is not easy to accomplish. What was that jutsu? It got us here so fast, Sakura asked. An original jutsu, that's all you need to know now anyways. I believe you should know the identity of our attackers. Sasuke nodded. I figured it out too. Who is it? Sakura asked. There are 3. Kakashi, Kurenai, and Iruka. Sakura gasped. Why would they attack us? It's a test. Iruka does not believe we are capable to take the Chunin exams. I imagine this is Kakashi's way of proving him wrong. Sasuke nodded. So how do we beat 3 Jounin? Simple. You leave it to me. You're not serious, Naruto. Sasuke responded quickly, total and outright surprise in his voice. Oh, but I am. Stay here and allow me to take them on. I have been anxious for a good challenge, but... Sakura began. No discussion. And with that, Naruto blurred out of sight. XXXX Naruto blurred into the center of the clearing. He knew exactly what he had to do. In no time at all, 3 figures blurred into sight around him. Naruto looked to his left, to his right, then behind him. All 3 were there. They were all ordaining black robes with hoods which entirely shrouded their faces. Naruto smirked at the act, but decided it was time to let the cat out of the bag. Kurenai, Kakashi, Iruka, what would your reason for attacking us be? Well, 2 out of the 3 looked surprised that Naruto was able to identify them. The third had no movement. Kurenai. Iruka. Why should you be surprised? I'm sure Kakashi has told much about me, but Naruto knew that this little talking game would not last much longer. Oh, and don't even think about trying to find the others. I laced the area with suppression seals that will conceal not only their presence, but their chakra signatures. All 3 remained stagnant, but Naruto could imagine they were very surprised under the shadows of their hoods. So then who will come at me first? And so it began. Kurenai rushed towards Naruto, kunai in hand. Naruto ducked under the kunai, and attempted to slice at Kurenai with his sword. His blade went through her shit. Genjutsu, Kai. And with that, the genjutsu expelled itself quickly. And with just enough time, Naruto ducked under a punch aimed for his head, then punch Iruka in the gut. As he fell to his knees, Naruto kneed him under the jaw, sending him flying backwards. HHHRRH, give up Naruto. Naruto heard this as he felt the cold hard edge of the kunai on the front of his throat, though the man was holding it from behind him. Kakashi. You know me, am I truly one to give up so easily? Well, I will slice you. Very well then, disappear, and Naruto vanished in thin air, to the surprise of Kakashi. Naruto appeared behind Kakashi in mid-swing. Kakashi. Behind you. Kakashi turned and was just able to bend backwards to dodge the swing aimed at his head. He then kicked out at Naruto, hitting his head and sending him flying back. He flipped in mid-air and landed on his feet, and examined as Kurenai, Kakashi, and Iruka stood together once again. "Ready for round 2? Naruto spoke with a smirk. The figures tensed for a moment, then sprung into action. Iruka came in with a punch to Naruto's gut, but Naruto did not attempt to move. "Iruka! Pull out!" And just in time, Iruka jumped backwards before hitting Naruto. "What was that about?" Kurenai asked. "He didn't move. He's in Sage mode. If you would have punched him then, with no chakra laced in your hand would probably be broken right now." Iruka nodded, examining his hand that could have just broken, then examining Naruto. Naruto had orange eyeshadow around his eyes. The pupil of his eye was now a horizontal yellow rectangle. Sage mode. Naruto rushed forward, causing the 3 attackers to put on their guard. Shadow Clone Jutsu. 2 shadow clones popped into existence and ran alongside Naruto. This surprised 2 Jounin, but nonetheless they kept their guards up. The Naruto on the right threw a kunai at Iruka. Iruka moved his head to the left, dodging the kunai. But the unmissable sound of a substitution jutsu was what came. In fact, he immediately recognized the action, but that didn't mean he had enough time to counter it. As the Naruto who had just replaced with the kunai was about to hit him with his sword, Kakashi blurred behind Iruka, blocking Naruto's strike with his own kunai. "Iruka! 2 are going for Kurenai." Iruka looked towards Kurenai and sure enough, the other 2 Naruto were rushing towards her. Iruka ran in her direction, eager to help. One of the Narutos rushing to Kurenai held his arm outward, and red electricity crackled into existence, and soon, it engulfed Naruto's whole hand. And in a burst of speed, he rushed to Kurenai. The other Naruto broke off that path, and blurred out of sight, appearing in front of Iruka. In that moment, Iruka couldn't react fast enough as in a last attempt, he tried to punch the Naruto that had appeared in front of him. Naruto ducked under the punch, then grabbed Iruka around the throat, lifted him into the air, then slammed him into the ground. Iruka coughed up blood at the impact, then Naruto let go of him. He reached into his back pocket, pulling out a slip of paper. "Here you go, this seal will make sure you don't get up anytime soon." And as Naruto let the seal go, it flew towards Iruka, and attached itself to him. 1 down. The clone just reached Kurenai, raging lightning present in its hand. Kurenai ducked under the jutsu, then attempted a leg sweep. Naruto jumped over it, then flew downward onto Kurenai, his jutsu in front of him. The jutsu connected with Kurenai, but Naruto found it incredibly odd that he was going through her. Genjutsu. Kai. But just as he released it, he felt a kunai stab him in his upper back. Shit, and with that, the clone poofed out of existence. Kurenai was panting. It had taken almost perfect timing to get that maneuver to work. If she had done it too early, she may have been figured out. Too late, and well, the consequences would be obvious. 1 clone down. Kakashi and Naruto exchanged blows with kunai and sword, the latter obviously more effective than the former. Then, Kakashi jumped back, running through hand seals. Fire style, fireball jutsu. A fireball flew at Naruto with great speed. Wind style, wind rotation. A sphere of rotating wind surrounded Naruto. The fire combined with the wind, a raging inferno now spun around Naruto. Ninja art, chakra implosion, and with the expulsion of chakra from Naruto's body, the inferno flew outwards, no longer enclosing Naruto. The blaze died away. It would seem that this battle had just turned into one of ninjutsu. Water style, water shark bullet. A water style with no source? Impressive indeed if he could actually pull it off, which Naruto knew he could. Kenjutsu, chakra blade. Naruto swung his blade and a blue crescent of chakra flew out. It sliced through Kakashi's jutsu and headed straight for him. Kakashi jumped to his left to avoid the jutsu, then rushed at Naruto once more. In a burst of speed, Kakashi reached Naruto. Naruto was stunned by this sudden speed, and was too slow to counter as Kakashi sliced his face with a kunai. Poof, 2 clones down that left the real Naruto. Both Jounin rushed towards the Naruto that had downed Irika. That had to be the real one. Kurenai arrived first. Naruto ducked under her kunai, then sliced her through the stomach. Once again, his blade went through her. Kai. The genjutsu was released just in time for Naruto to duck under Kakashi kick, then leg sweep his one leg. Kakashi fell to the ground and Naruto attempted to finish him by stabbing him in the stomach. But Kakashi wasn't done yet. Hand seals as fast as lightning fire style, fireball jutsu boom xxxxx. Sasuke felt terrible. All he was a sitting duck. He did nothing to help at all. He was angry at Naruto, but he still judged the situation. In some ways, Naruto was correct. Facing Irika, Kakashi, and Kurenai, him and Sakura would probably get in Naruto's way. That was why he wanted to fight alone, in a crazy way to try and protect them. That intrigued Sasuke a little, but he couldn't help but think of the other fact. Against 3 skilled Konoha ninja, Naruto held no chance. Or did he? XXXXXX. The smoke covered the area where the impact had happened. Though both Jounin found it impossible that Naruto could not have been downed by that point-blank attack. And as the smoke cleared, a sight was visible that they did not want to see. Naruto stood, his back slightly hunched, the red chakra cloak of the Kyuubi surrounding him. One tail was forming, shit, Kakashi thought. And Naruto disappeared from sight. He appeared in front of Kurenai, grabbing her with a chakra hand, then throwing her into the forest. As she flew, she knocked down several trees. Then, Naruto turned to Kakashi. They were less than 10 feet away from each other, Kakashi looking into the slitted red eyes of a Kyuubi-induced Naruto. Naruto attacked Kakashi, but flew through him. He roared, and released a huge wave of chakra, one that should dispel any genjutsu in the area. Then, he noted Kakashi behind him, rushing at him. Naruto turned and met Kakashi with a chakra-armed slice. But his arm went through him once again. Naruto was beginning to grow frustrated as he roared once again, louder and more powerful than before. ROAAAARRRXXX. The sound was heard for miles. The whole of Konoha probably heard it. And definitely, Sasuke and Sakura heard it. What was that? Sakura asked. Sasuke shook his head. He truly had no idea. It came from where we were attacked. Sasuke nodded. Did you feel it though? Sakura was confused. Feel what? A slight wave of chakra that washed over this area. It was very minor, but I still felt it. The chakra was evil. Evil? What do you mean evil? It was impure. It just wasn't right, but who was impure chakra like that? I've heard stories, Sasuke responded, of a beast with foul and demonic chakra. You mean like the Kyuubi? Sasuke nodded. Hi, and I've heard things about Naruto also. What about Naruto? Sakura asked. All I know from what I've heard is that Naruto and the Kyuubi are linked somehow. XXX. Naruto clutched his head as the Kyuubi's chakra quickly receded back into him. He had let his emotions get the better of him for just a moment, but he was back now. Naruto found his sword and rushed to it, grabbing it and testing its weight. It seemed relatively undamaged. He rolled his head, satisfied when he heard various cracks. But time was not on his side. He had to find Kakashi and finish it. Shrill crackle as Naruto looked down at his chest, a lightning-infused hand just came out of it. What? Always pay attention in battle. Naruto, as Kakashi pulled out his hand, his Raikiri died down, and Naruto coughed blood. Naruto fell to his knees, then he fell to the ground. Though the Kyuubi's chakra was already working to heal the hole in his chest, it would take a few hours in the least, and the battle was definitely over. Nice try, Naruto. But I'm just a bit out of your league. Naruto smirked, but I will get stronger, just wait. XXXXXX. Sasuke and Sakura waited, not knowing what was going on or if the battle was still going on. Heck, they didn't even know how far away they were from the battle. "It's over," a voice from above spoke. Sasuke and Sakura looked up to see Naruto up high in a tree. He had red eyeshadow and his pupil was a yellow rectangle with a red slit going vertically through it. "Naruto?" Sasuke asked. "Just a clone. The real Naruto is downed and about to lose consciousness." "What? Naruto got defeated?" Sakura asked, as if the very thought was impossible. The Naruto clone nodded. "I have a few seconds at the most before I dispel. Head in that direction," the clone pointed behind him, "for a few minutes, and you should reach the training field." And with that, the Naruto clone dispelled. "XXX, he's powerful." Indeed. A masked figure loomed in the shadows of the trees. "He sensed us." "Impossible." I saw him look over in this direction for a moment. Remember after he downed that scar-faced man? Nah. Impossible. We were hiding our chakra signatures. Nonetheless, he will be at Chunin exams, so we must make haste. I believe I shall pay him a visit. Don't stay out too long. Of course not. As one of the three figures disappeared into the shadows, the other one stayed for a moment. That was Hatake Kakashi, son of Konoha's White Fang. Powerful, yes, but we can say the same about the kid. The Raikage is quite interested in him. He called him Naruto. And he said if there is anyone to avoid during the attack it's him. I can see why. And with that, the two figures disappeared into the shadows. Also God Kakashi, what the hell was that? Said Kurenai as she walked out of the trees, bruised and battered, with splinters over her body. I guess knocking down a few trees does that to a person. I warned you to not underestimate him, didn't I? Well, you can't really blame me for not expecting that. Kakashi nodded. Yeah, guess he kinda went overboard at the end. Help here, the voice came from behind them. Kakashi did not turn around. He knew who it was. That seal was designed by Naruto. Getting it off won't be easy. I'm no seal's master. It's just a seal, it shouldn't be dash. Well, Naruto isn't just a genin, is he? You've seen exactly what he is capable of. I hope you now see that the team will have no trouble at all passing the exam. Iruka nodded, then struggled to his feet, all his strength drained by the seal. Now Kurenai, can you take Iruka to the Hokage? He will know how to get the seal off, or in the very least direct you to a person who does. I'll take Naruto to the hospital. Kurenai nodded, and picked up Iruka, piggyback style. Don't get too comfortable, Kakashi taunted, then blurred out of sight, carrying Naruto with him. As Kakashi disappeared, Kurenai spoke. Well, we better get going too. Iruka nodded, and then they were about to leave, but then. Iruka-sensei. Before Kurenai sprinted off, she turned around, seeing two genin run out of the expanse of the trees. Hey! Those are Sasuke and Sakura. Kurenai nodded in understanding as the two genin approached the veteran ninja. Hey, Iruka spoke, are you kids alright? Sakura nodded, a bit surprised though. Why did you attack us? Iruka shook his head. It wasn't one of my brightest ideas, I guess. Then it clicked in Sasuke's head. Naruto did that to you. It wasn't a question. It was a statement. The silence confirmed Sasuke's inquiry. Naruto had disabled Iruka, all the while fighting off two high-level jounin. Wait, how did Naruto dash? Long story, don't worry about it. You kids better get home. Where's Kakashi? Sasuke asked. Kurenai answered, he took Naruto to the hospital. What? Sakura asked, what happened to Naruto? Silence. But soon enough, Iruka answered. Chakra exhaustion, impossible, Sasuke countered. The amount of chakra that Naruto possesses is too immense to imagine even in that chakra wave. It wasn't even half of the amount of chakra Naruto has. Both Jounin's eyes widened. Ah, so you felt that? Iruka spoke. Sakura asked the question that had been bugging her, so that chakra was it Naruto? Silence. You should ask him yourself, Kurenai responded. It's not our place to answer that question. And with that, both Jounin blurred out of sight with no warning, leaving Sasuke and Sakura alone in the field. Well, I guess we should get going, Sasuke. Sasuke nodded, but not before observing the battlefield. One place in particular caught his attention. There were several downed trees on one side of the clearing. Sakura noticed Sasuke observing that location and brought it up. Who do you think knocked down those trees? Sasuke answered in all seriousness as he turned away and began to walk. Same person who downed Iruka. Sasuke continued to walk. Same person who can take on 2 jounin at once with no trouble. Sakura followed step. Same person with a near infinite amount of chakra. They walked away from the center of the clearing. Same person with power the level of a jounin. As they left the clearing, Sasuke spoke once more. The same person who can kill without remorse. Uzumaki Naruto. XXXX. Naruto's mindscape. Naruto floated in the ever-growing pool of water which was his mindscape. Like usual, the seal was in front of him, the Kyuubi's mighty figure shadowed behind it. That was pitiful. Well, I would say it was your fault. You had to take control, you were, shall I say, ineffective, and you were absolutely useless. Do not anger me, you're the one behind the bars, not me. The Kyuubi growled and the ground shook. I do not fear you. You do not, but you should. You seem rather unintimidating when you're in that cage. Growl, you would do well to remember I am the one here who provides you with your power. I am the one who gives you my chakra. I am the one creating your Kekkei Genkai. I am a part of you, your power. I have my own strength, you're just a bonus. Be gone. Only I can say when I leave, but I have grown bored of talking with you, so I shall leave until next time. Kyuubi, Jiro WLLLXXXXXXXXXXXXXXXX. Real world. Naruto was getting very accustomed to this sense. And what sense was that, you ask? Danger. Even sitting in this hospital bed, Naruto sensed danger. Of all places to sense danger, even a hospital. So when Naruto reached for his sword by his bedside, it wasn't by coincidence that a voice made itself known. Now, no need for violence, I just want to talk. Naruto looked to the window. And you are, call me Jacob, and they said the life of a ninja was a walk in the park. Jacob? And what village do you belong to, Jacob? Hidden lightning. I won't hide the fact, I'm sure you know by now. Your lack of loyalty astounds me. Not really. Though from what I've seen of you, you're anything but ordinary. I'm sure you've already figured it out. Naruto contemplated on hiding the fact, but then Jacob spoke again. Even if you did have knowledge, I would not notify the Raikage. My goals are quite separate to his. Naruto responded, and just what are your goals? You don't need to know. I have another question. Which one do you contain? The question caught Naruto off guard, but he answered in stride. 9th, I see. Well, you see, I'm a special case. Naruto's brow furrowed. I sense no demon inside of you, though that was true. Naruto could definitely sense something inside of Jacob. You see, I'm the result of an experiment with the chakra of the 8 tails. I hold over half of the 8 tails chakra inside of me. Naruto looked interested at this. Over half? Jacob nodded. I am not a Jinchuriki, but I can fight like one. Naruto nodded. And why are you telling me this? It will do no harm. I care not if this invasion succeeds or not. All I care is to test my abilities, and I feel as if I've found a suitable counterpart. Naruto put 2 and 2 together. So then you're our little spy, yeah? Jacob smirked. I knew you had sensed me, though the others weren't as sure, but yes, I saw you fight and I was intrigued, to say the least. Naruto smirked. So then you're participating in the exams? Jacob nodded. My team and I are gonna make it to the finals. I hope to fight you during the final exams, and if it happens we face before then? Naruto asked. Jacob smirked, turning away from the window to face outside. Then we will fight, and it will not be winners and losers. The better man will win, but the loser will die. Naruto smirked. Just the way I like it. Jacob nodded. Well, I best be off. I know that jounin of yours sensed me also. He's probably after my team right now, so I have to go throw him off his trail. Naruto nodded. Good luck with that. Oh. And you better get out of here as I came. I couldn't help but notice your genin team on a collision course with a few sand ninja. You better get over there. And with that, Jacob blurred out of sight. Naruto stared at the spot where Jacob left, then he stood. He was still in his shinobi clothes. He fastened his sword to his back, then leapt out the window, blurring out of sight. XX Konohamaru ran for his life. Calling Sakura an ugly pink banshee wasn't such a good idea, and so he ran for his life. As he turned the corner, he bumped into someone. Now, he found himself being held in the air by his throat. "Let me go. Hey punk, who do you think you are, bumping into me like that?" Soon, Sakura and the rest of the Konohamaru Corps rounded the corner. "Sorry, it was really my fault, can you please let him dash?" "Nah. Kids like these never learn, I think I should teach him a lesson, let the kid go." The voice came from behind Sakura as he turned around to see Kane. Kane walked past her without a word, standing between her and the Sand Ninja. The Sand Ninja wore some sort of cat suit with a bandaged object on his back. "Oh yeah, what are you gonna do about it?" Kane observed the other ninja who stood behind Kankuro. It was a girl with blonde hair with 4 pigtails. "You in the back, are you Temari?" Temari looked surprised. "Yes, but how do you know me?" Kane responded, "Naruto told me about you once." This put both Sand Ninja on edge. The one holding Konohamaru spoke first and frantically. "You know Naruto?" Sakura through this had no idea of where this people knew Naruto from or why. In fact, they seemed intimidated by him. "Well, I guess anyone would be." Sakura answered her own question. "Yeah, I know him now anyways, let Konohamaru go or I'll have to take him by force." As he said this, he reached for his twin blades on his back. "If it's a fight you want," the Sand Ninja spoke, but just as he said this, something hit his hand. "Ah!" he yelled as he mistakenly dropped Konohamaru. Konohamaru wasted no time running behind Kane as he was released. Everyone present looked up to where that projectile, it was a rock, came from. Kane smirked. "Took you long enough, Sasuke." The Sand Genin looked at Kane, then at the person in the tree, Uchiha, and there he was. The leaves of the trees shadowed his face from the world, but the rest of his figure could be seen. He held a rock in his left hand, tossing it up and catching it repeatedly. He then spoke, "What are you ninja doing so far from home? Get lost." The Sand Ninja grit his teeth and reached for his back. "You're going to use it for them?" "Hey, they're asking for it." But before anything could happen, another voice broke through. "Kankuro, you're a disgrace to our village." Sasuke's eyes widened as he looked to his right. There was a ninja who stood upside down under the tree branch to his right. Sasuke was surprised. He didn't even hear him move. "Gaara!" Kankuro exclaimed. Gaara then disappeared in a whirl of sand, reappearing in between Kane and Kankuro. At this time, Sasuke dropped down also. "I apologize," Gaara spoke, "but I would like to know your name." Kane smirked. "Kane." Gaara then turned to the person beside him, "And yours also?" "I'm Sasuke. I would like to know your name too." "Gaara of the desert." Sasuke nodded as Gaara turned. He walked past Kankuro and Temari, gesturing for them to follow. "Gaara, they started." "Shut up, Kankuro, just walk." Gaara responded fiercely. Kankuro nodded and walked alongside them. And the Sand Trio walked away as Sasuke and Kane stood in the clearing. As the Sand team disappeared from view, they both had a smile on their face. "Why are you guys so happy?" Sakura asked. Sasuke answered, "Simple, someone new to kick the crap out of." Kane smirked. "True, but he doesn't seem exactly weak, does he?" Sasuke nodded. "Yeah, but he can't be stronger than Naruto, can he?" "I don't know. Why don't you ask Naruto himself about what he thinks?" Sasuke looked confused, until he detected the new presence. He turned around. Naruto, and there he stood, his face forever shrouded in shadows. Everyone at the scene looked at the ominous figure of Naruto, and then he spoke. "Gaara of the desert, Sasuke, you can't beat him as you are. But you will be able to, I know that much." "Well, not if he goes all out, of course, but under circumstances you should be even with him." Sasuke nodded. "And why didn't you let yourself be known during that encounter?" Naruto smirked. "Simple, it'll be more fun if they see me at the exams for the first time." Kane spoke next. "The exams are tomorrow. Are you all ready?" Sakura nodded. "Definitely." Then Sasuke nodded also. "You know it." "And Naruto, do I even have to ask?" Naruto smirked. "You know me too well, XXXXX, so then what's the plan?" A figure spoke. "Well, if Naruto holds up his end," another figure replied. Naruto will, Zack spoke, he seems honorable, Itsuro nodded, I do believe he will uphold his end of the deal. Becoming what he once was is something he cannot resist, Zack nodded, so then what would you have me do, Itsuro spoke, you will accompany me to the Forest of Death to seal Naruto also, I want you to check after the fight to see if Orochimaru is sealed. And finally, during the operations I want you to make sure that, I think I know. Good, and with that, Itsuro blurred out of sight. Only a few seconds passed, and another figure revealed themselves. Rin, does something trouble you? Zack asked. I feel as if I may be the only one who doesn't know what is your role in the attack. Zack sighed, simple, I am to make sure that the Hokage dies, xxxxx. It was getting dark in Konoha, but that did not mean things were slowing down. Various swirl marks were located on the tree. They were merely ridges and none were deep. As Kane stared down at his burnt hand, Naruto's loud voice broke through the silence. Again, Kane grit his teeth and fed chakra to his hand, rotating it as it formed. He then rushed forward, intent on trying again. Rasengan. As the attack connected, it burst and only a spiral marking was left on the tree. Kane, it's still incomplete. If you do not perfect this move it will be of no use during a fight. Kane stood up once again, using one hand to form the rotating chakra. He tried once again, rushing and slamming the Rasengan into the tree. And the same result. Naruto sighed. This would be a long night. XXX Sasuke sliced and sliced at the dummy in front of him. He aimed for the vitals. Sasuke as growing fonder of the new-found art of Kenjutsu. It felt all too natural to him. He enjoyed it very much. And most of all, he felt that much closer to reaching Naruto. Sasuke smirked at this thought, and sliced at the dummy with new vigor, eager on perfecting his stance. XXX Sakura sat on her bed, staring up at the ceiling. Tomorrow was the Chunin exams, and she was just a little bit scared. She was scared because she knew that it wasn't playtime anymore. Just from the encounter with the Sand Ninja, she knew that the Chunin exams were serious. The people in them weren't here to joke around. They were here to beat out the competition, even if it meant killing them. Thing is, Sasuke and Naruto had nothing to worry about. With their strength, they could take on any opposition that came their way. But her, what did she have? Yeah, sure, she had her brains, but where would that get her in a battle? The answer was obvious: without Naruto or Sasuke killed. So though she formed her resolve to take the exams, she was nervous as hell. But hopefully when the exams came, they wouldn't be too frightening. For some reason, Sakura highly doubted that XXXXX, Hokage-sama, it begins tomorrow. The Hokage nodded while looking out the window of the Hokage tower. Indeed. Do you think Konoha is ready for this? Kakashi asked. Well. The Hokage responded, I truly don't know. The only thing I know is that we have to hope that Konoha stays strong in this time of danger and comes together as our predecessors have in their time. Kakashi nodded. Naruto and Kane will play a big part in this. I feel they will be the ones to decide Konoha's fate as Jinchuriki. They will fight with the strongest of lightning, and lightning has strong ninja. The Hokage nodded. Lightning is the village I would fear the most, more so now that the threat of an attack is imminent, but we can get through this. Kakashi nodded, hoping that there was at least some wisdom in the Hokage's words. XXXXX. As Naruto overlooked Kane trying the technique over and over again, he couldn't help but imagine the time when Jiraiya was teaching the technique to Naruto himself. He smiled at the memory, but then paid his attention back to Kane. Again. And this continued throughout the night. The preparations were fierce, and everybody needed to be in peak condition when the exams came. Naruto knew this more than anyone else did. But just at the thought of the exams, Naruto couldn't help but let a smirk cross his face. The exams were coming and Naruto was ready. The title of Chunin. What exactly did it mean? Did it mean you were ready to take on new challenges and adversity? No. Did it mean you were ready to lead a squad and make tough decisions on the field of battle? No. Did it mean you were ready to grow in the ranks and become a more valuable piece in Konoha's arsenal? No, the title of Chunin meant nothing. That was the philosophy of Uzumaki Naruto. He more than anyone knew titles meant nothing. It was quite simple. He himself was not genin level. Every Konoha jounin in the village more or less knew of that fact, either from word of mouth, the Hokage, or from seeing it themselves. Yet after flaunting his skills, he was still genin, and the simple explanation to that ludicrous fact, titles meant nothing. A genin could become Hokage without rising in the ranks if he was proven mature and strong enough. Now while that wasn't likely, it was still possible. There was truly no point in taking the Chunin exams. With enough argument to the Hokage and with some jounin backing him up, he could probably make Chunin without any tests at all. Heck, with the support he could get, he could probably make ANBU, but that didn't matter at the moment. The morning of the Chunin exams was upon Konoha, and with the Chunin exams brought Konoha's fate. Naruto knew now more than ever, he couldn't put down his guard. But he was excited. He knew he would be facing many other ninja, and what truly excited him about this was that now was one of the only chances that he could kill ninja without any real consequences, so there's no hope for him. Then Naruto could not rid himself of the memory. Those words, they replayed in his mind over and over. They held meaning to him, those words, but Naruto knew not why. Why should he care for her sorrow? Why should he even help her? It's not like he himself would benefit looking into her tear-filled eyes. Naruto knew that there was something about her, something, but he couldn't quite place it, and it was annoying. It was annoying to know that he did not know why he cared so much. As Naruto finished getting dressed, he secured his Foxsage mask, leaving his face completely hidden in a mask, whilst still hidden under the veil of shadows created by his hood. It was time. It was a habit of Kane to come to this spot as the sun rose. It was his favorite. The Hokage Mountain. As he sat upon the head of the Sandaime Hokage, he watched as the sun rose. His twin blades, fire and ice, were fashioned to his back, and he wore a mask which covered his nose and mouth. Also, of course, the headband which covered one eye, the eye of intent. No doubt he would have to make use of that eye. Naruto had already gone over what the plan was when it came to who was fighting who during the invasion. His target, the Nebi Jinchuriki, Yujito ni. He was nervous. He knew that if he did not come out the victor of that battle, it would be detrimental to Konoha. Just one extra Jinchuriki in the battle could severely alter the outcome, and depending on which side's Jinchuriki it was, that would be what decided the battle. As he watched the sun rise, he looked over the village. This new village which he had decided to protect. Why do people protect? Is it just something that happens when you make a bond? Over time you just want to protect it? Kane had figured out the answer. Thinking back to Zabuza and how he was dead, he now knew, it's because you don't want to lose it, this village, his new home. He did not want to lose it. He did not want it to crumble and be destroyed, and so, he would protect it until his last breath. Ready for this? A useless question, Jiraiya. You never know. You could be nervous. Emotions of humanity. You more than anyone should know I have lost that. The leaves around them fell as the wind picked up. The trees began to sway as the two stood in the center of the small clearing. Listen, spoke Jiraiya, just came to wish you good luck, and I have a little something for you. Naruto's eyes furrowed slightly. What is it? Jiraiya pulled out a scroll, and unrolled it. Before releasing the contents, he addressed Naruto. Take off your gauntlet and dispenser. Naruto looked confused, but nonetheless did it after a moment's hesitation. His hand revealed burns littered all across. Burns from the very fire that Naruto was not immune to. They were a memory, of a battle that he fought, and a man he wished to kill. The man which wielded the only fire that could harm him. As Jiraiya rubbed his blood along the scroll, an object which looked like an arm brace popped out. I already own a dispenser, Naruto spoke. Ah, but this is not a dispenser. Quite the opposite actually. I call it, a hidden blade. A hidden blade? Works like a dispenser, but instead of dispensing kunai, it brings forth a blade that is attached to the brace. Naruto looked slightly confused. I have a sword. How will this hidden blade assist me in battle? Jiraiya smirked. It's called a hidden blade for a reason. Think about it, Naruto. If you go for a punch, Naruto nodded. now smirking with full understanding. I will have a blade and be able to kill my target more effectively. Exactly, very well. How does it work? Same way as a dispenser. Tense your hand to get it to come out. Keep it tense to keep it out. Relax your hand to retract. Naruto nodded. What of my gauntlet? It's designed specially for you, to fit on your gauntlet just as the dispenser did. Naruto nodded, as Jiraiya handed him the hidden blade. He strapped it on, then put on his gauntlet. As he tensed his hand, a blade of titanium was released. Its length was about 20 centimeters from the end of the brace. It went past the end of his fingers. Naruto smirked. This will be quite useful, Jiraiya. Jiraiya nodded. Get in some practice with it. Your enemies won't expect it and those that see it will die. Naruto smiled devilishly. XXXX, ha. How do you expect to be Chunin when you're so weak? Annoyance. Yeah. We're doing you a favor here. If you can't even handle us, you'll get eaten alive in the exams. Annoyance. People die in this exam. If you can't get past us, then just turn back now. Annoyance. Drop the genjutsu. This is 201, not 301. Stupidity. Ah, so you figured it out, but that's not enough to get you through the exams. Idiocy. Sasuke rushed forward. Just as he was about to lock kicks with the unknown boy, a green blur appeared between them. Please, I ask you not to fight here. Speed. He wore a green spandex suit. He had a bowl haircut and the bushiest eyebrows ever seen. Threat. Whatever. Good luck at the exams, guys, and it begins. XXXX. As Sasuke and Sakura appeared in front of the door, they were met by Kakashi. Kakashi, though, had a look of utmost surprise. Naruto isn't here? Sasuke nodded. Guess he decided not to show. I'm just as surprised as you are. Kakashi knew something must have been up. Just then, a person walked down the hall towards them. He was wearing civilian clothing, with a sword strapped to his back. Kakashi smirked. Sakura and Sasuke turned to the new arrival. He made a hand sign, and the henge dispelled, revealing none other than Uzumaki. Naruto. Sasuke smirked. A little much, don't you think? Naruto spoke. Competition is fierce. That kid that just beat you. Sasuke grit his teeth. Whatever, he won't beat me next time. Naruto smirked. He wasn't too sure of that. So, you're all here. Kakashi spoke. That's excellent. It means I can let you pass. Sakura was confused. What? Naruto filled her in. The Chunin exams are taken in 3-man cells. If one of you were to not show up, none of us would have been allowed to take the exams. Sakura's eyes widened. Kakashi spoke quickly, but that doesn't matter since you're all here now. Sakura, you brains and intellect will help you get through tough situations. Sasuke, your strength and cleverness on the battlefield will help you defeat any adversary you face. And Naruto, just go out there and destroy the competition. And with that, the doors opened. XXXX menacing. That word was perfect to describe exactly what Naruto looked like right now. Clothed in black and red, his outfit from the previous day wasn't what truly made him look menacing. The fact that his upper face was shrouded by shadows, and all you could see of his lower face, was the menacing smirk of a fox mask. Foxes are quite clever after all. You're the fresh genin, right? Naruto turned to see a genin clothed in purple and whitish gray. You really shouldn't make such a scene. You're attracting a lot of attention. Naruto tensed his hand, his hidden blade sliding out. Unnoticed by all, before he relaxed it once again, letting it retract. And just who are you? Asked Kiba. I'm merely worth mentioning, just a genin taking the exam once again, but I think I can be of help to you. This one statement caught Naruto's attention. It also put his guard up. Over years of taking the Chunin exams, I've been able to gather information on just about every participant here, meaning, Kabuto smirked, I can give you all the information you need. Sasuke spoke up quickly, Sabaka no Gara. Rock Lee. And Uzumaki. Naruto. XXXXX, is that who I think it is? Temari nodded. She did not notice she held her breath. Is he really that strong? Asked Kankuro. He took killing intent that I felt from the other side of the clearing, and more than tripled it with his own. Kankuro gazed at Naruto, slight fear in his eyes. If what his sister Wei saying was all truth, then they really had somebody to worry about. Gaara only smiled. XXXXXX. After getting information on Gaara and Lee, it was time to learn about Naruto. As the card revealed itself, it was interesting indeed. 30D ranks, 12C ranks, and 1 South rank mission, same as Sasuke. His skills include mastery of Kenjutsu, a vast number of ninjutsu, and a jutsu used by the 4th Hokage called the Rasengan. He could feel the killing intent from the IWA ninja. Enough was enough. Naruto held his hand out in front of Kabuto's neck. Kabuto's eyes widened. Where did you get your information? I already told you. Do not tempt me, Yakushi. At the faintest move of my hand, I can kill you. We're both Konoha ninja. I'm just as harmless as those sound ninja. This put Naruto on edge, and ultimately, confirmed his suspicions. He sensed movements. 3 people, 3 angles. Concentrated on one Kabuto Yakushi. A part of him wanted to just let them have it with Kabuto. But he knew the saying. Keep your friends close, and your enemies closer, Naruto whispered under his breath. Kabuto was the only one that caught it just as Naruto blurred out of sight. Just as he blurred, the 3 sound ninja appeared, rushing at Kabuto. A man wrapped in bandages appeared in front of Kabuto, arm in mid-swing. But his breath was taken from him as he felt the hard impact of a kick on his chest. He went flying, hitting the wall hard. Naruto put down his leg, standing on 2 feet once again. Though you could not see it, he was smirking under his Anbu mask. He rolled his neck, various cracks sounded as he began to speak. Now let's all be nice here. As he said this, he reached for his blade ironically. The other 2 stopped, hesitation in their eyes. Before Naruto could move to unsheath his blade, a huge burst of smoke appeared at the front of the hall. Alright maggots. Get ready for the first exam, XXXXXX. As he heard the melodic scribbles of the pencils of the various participants, Naruto could only smirk. So many possibilities, but what to choose? So many ways to cheat. Naruto already knew the point of the first exam. Firstly, Jiraiya had hinted him about the true purpose once before, and also, it was quite simple when the proctor said, those that let themselves be caught by the sentinels, are not worthy of the title of Chunin. The proctor had set those that let themselves get caught, meaning if he wasn't caught. But still back here, how to carry it out. So many ways. XXXXX. Sakura was a genius. That was all she could say. This test way perfect for her, a test of the mind, and of knowledge. She was sure that with her amazing score, the team would have a much easier time of passing. She also knew Sasuke should have been able to do well no problem, but she had to admit, the question stressed even more, to the point that the eraser on the back of her pencil was all but shaved off. And Naruto. Hell knew the vastness of Naruto's knowledge. Sakura just hoped it would be enough to. In all this, she never noted a fly floating just behind her, and it was not an aburame bug. As a small pop was heard, Sakura turned behind her, to see the remnants of a really tiny smoke cloud. Just dust, Sakura thought to herself. Oh, how wrong she was. XX. As the memories of the clone that had just dispelled returned to Naruto, he now knew every answer on the test. All that was left, was for him to copy them. Simple indeed. XXX. Standing in front of what was called the Forest of Death, Naruto let the nostalgia set in. Jiraiya and him and come here once for some survival training, it was truly home. The remaining candidates stood, all seeming just slightly intimidated by the giant trees which shadowed the forest. And of course, the fact that it was highly fenced off didn't exactly help either. Hey, pay attention. The whizzing sound of a kunai was heard as Naruto turned to the source. A kunai was incoming. As he calculated its trajectory, he saw it was meant to nick him on the cheek. Naruto's hand was a blur as it reached up, grabbing the kunai with one finger and twirling it around, before launching it back at Anko. Anko blurred out of sight, appearing behind Naruto, kunai in her hand at the neck of Naruto. Anko smirked seductively. Smooth move you pulled there, as she went closer, leaning on his back. He could feel her chest on his back, but not enough. I'm not so sure of that, Anko, and just then, Naruto burst into a cloud of smoke. Shadow clone? Never again, Madarashi Anko. Anko's eyes widened as he felt the edge of a kunai on the back of her throat. As she turned her neck slowly, there he stood, his posture intimidating. The shadows of his face making him seem menacing, and the demonic smile of the Foxsage mask added to the whole look. That mask, Naruto smirked, an early present. Anko's eyes widened. An early present, an ANBU mask. Did this boy already have a guaranteed spawn in the Konoha ANBU Black Ops? Naruto pulled the kunai back, and put it in his pouch. You may continue, Proctor. Anko was still trying to comprehend what had just happened, but soon she came out of her daze, and spoke. Each team will be given one scroll. Half of you will be getting an Earth scroll, while the other half, a Heaven scroll. To continue in the exam, you must reach the tower with both scrolls and all your team members conscious. Do you understand? Nods went through the crowd. Good, then get your scrolls so we can get underway. XXXXXXXXXX 5 minutes in, Team 7 stood in a small clearing. The forest itself was huge, trees sprawled all over the forest, with roots as huge as houses themselves. The forest was intimidating to say the least. Team 7 stood, and were ready to make a plan of action. Sasuke spoke first. Our priority is acquiring a Heaven scroll. But how to do so is the question. Any ideas? Sakura spoke. I think we should go on the offensive, go find another team and ambush them. Naruto though had something else on his mind. Naruto, what about you? Sasuke asked. You sense him, do you not? Team 7 went quiet, and sure enough, Sasuke noticed. They had a little spy. What's the plan? He spoke quietly. No need for one, he is dead already. Naruto spoke. Just as the rain ninja fell out of the tree and hit the floor, various cracks heard from impact. Where the rain ninja was in the trees, a Naruto clone stood for a few moments, before dispelling. Sasuke smirked. Impressive. Naruto walked over to the body and knelt, examining it. A rain ninja. He was alone. Okay, you two will listen to me and follow my instructions. All you need to do is simply head to the tower. I will meet up with you there with a Heaven scroll, so just make sure you don't lose the one you have. Sasuke's eyes widened. What are you talking about, Naruto? We're a team. We'll get the scrolls. Toga dash. Sasuke, listen to me, these Chunin exams shadow events that will affect all of Konoha, and you will play a prime role actually. Listen to my words, lest you will end up dead. In this forest, there is somebody hunting you, but you have protection. He is in the shadows. Even now he will assist me in defeating your assassin. Do you understand, Sasuke? Sakura's eyes were huge. It was so much to comprehend. She didn't know if she could take it all in. Sasuke nodded. Fine. I will do as you say, and with that, Sasuke and Sakura jumped off in the opposite direction, Naruto waiting until he could no longer feel their presence near. You didn't have to tell him about the plan, Itsuro. I felt it best for him to know, Naruto responded. A hooded figure, clothed in all black, emerged from the shadows behind Naruto. Orochimaru is a strong adversary, and not even I know if you can defeat him, which leads me to ask, Naruto spoke, what is the real reason for you to ask me to eliminate him? Itsuro smirked. It would seem you are not so easily fooled, Uzumaki. Very well, I shall tell you. I know for a fact that Orochimaru has abandoned Akatsuki, and killing him will trigger no reaction from them. That is not the reason I asked you to seal him. In fact, it is the seal itself that is important. You have yet to give me the seal, which is why I am here. The seal is one of extreme power, one that requires the chakra of a demon. The true chakra, what I have inside me, is merely a replica, inspired by the original. Naruto nodded. What does this seal do? Orochimaru is a kenjutsu specialist, and has experimented on himself many times. He has done what I have done with myself, except to less of a success. He implanted himself with the chakra of the 8 tails, but the process was not as perfect as my own. You still have not told me what I have asked. Very well. The seal is designed to extract the chakra of the 8 tails, and contain it in the seal. Orochimaru was able to extract at least half of the 8 tails chakra. I need that chakra, for it will make my plans go a lot smoother in the future. And just what are your plans? Naruto asked. Itsuro paused, then spoke, you are not to worry. I do not plan on betraying you, and I expect likewise. Naruto nodded, then Itsuro reached into his robe, taking out a slip of paper. Red lightning was infused with the paper, and the seal glowed an eerie red. Here is the seal, you must simply attach it to his chest, apply the proper seals, and overcharge it with the Kyuubi's chakra. After this action is done, you will let him go. I have plans for him, and what of our deal? Naruto spoke, it will be carried out once Orochimaru is dead. I am not one to go against my word. Naruto nodded, pocketing the seal. Very well, I will be off. Good luck. Naruto nodded, jumping away as a white cube surrounded Itsuro. As it instantly compressed, he disappeared from existence. XXXX Sasuke jumped onto the forest floor. The jump to the next tree proved a bit too far, so they would run up it from the floor. Who knew this was where it would begin? Sasuke, do you really think it was smart to trust Naruto to this? Sasuke did not speak. His face held an impassive look. But after a moment of silence, he spoke. Naruto is stronger than Kakashi. Sakura, if he wanted, he could probably take Kakashi's spot as the Jounin sensei of this team. On strength alone, Naruto can defeat just about anyone. If we can't hope for him to win, then who can we truly hope for? Sakura nodded, pondering over Sasuke's words. But anyways, we gotta get going to the Tadash. Sasuke and Sakura's eyes widened as they both fell to their knees, seeing the vision of their own death, and with that, the hazed figure of a ninja approaching in the background. Kukukuku, my what nice prey. XXXX a killer was what he was scared out of his mind. A killer. Team 8 ran the opposite direction, scared for their lives. What scared them was the massacre they had just watched. The cause of this, one Suna ninja named Gaara. He had literally, brutally killed his opponents. He left them no mercy, destroying their corpses with sand. Even as the last one begged for his life, Gaara was lifeless as he killed him, throwing his body at a tree, then grabbing it again and crushing it, a shower of blood accompanying the boy's death. A killer was exactly what Gaara was, but all ninja are killers. Gaara was just slightly different, though difference was, most ninjas don't enjoy raining death upon their adversaries. Gaara though was quite the opposite, the blood fueling his insatiable lust. Gaara embodied the true meaning of killer. Gaara of the sand. He would be interesting to watch. XXXXXX as the grass nin stalked towards Sasuke, he truly was scared. For the first time in his life, he truly feared for his life. The killing intent that the genin radiated, it was so much that he saw the vision of his own death, but Sasuke was able to put it all together in no time. Naruto had warned him of someone who was going to try and attack him. Obviously, this had to be the guy. My precious Sasuke-kun. I have a present to give to you. Fire style, Phoenix Flower Jutsu. Orochimaru felt the slight spike in chakra from above him, and looked up as 6 compressed fireballs fell downwards, landing in a circle around him, with him at the center. Oh, what's this? He commented. Wind style, rising tornado. A tornado formed around Orochimaru, the flames of the fireballs joining with the powerful winds, creating a tornado of flames, with Orochimaru at the epicenter. Then as Orochimaru looked up, he caught sight of a rapidly descending figure inside of the raging inferno tornado. In his hand, a red spiral. That jutsu, he thought. Kyuubi Rasengan. As the figure came within distance, Orochimaru saw the boy's eyes for a split second, illuminated by the surrounding flames. A cold cerulean blue. He knew exactly who this boy was. Boom. As the tornado of fire died away, Naruto stood in the center, his figure one of a devil. The flames did not touch him, yet he stood perfectly still as they died. His face hidden, his posture menacing. Kukukuku, my Naruto, it seems you have grown. Naruto turned his body to face behind him, where he saw Orochimaru standing a distance away. Orochimaru of the Sand Nin. State your business. I merely came to give Sasuke a present. I cannot allow that. You will die here, Orochimaru. Is that so? You are still green genin. You have much to learn before you can take me on. Naruto smirked. We'll see. At that, he blurred out of sight. Orochimaru ducked as Naruto appeared behind him with a horizontal slice that would have taken off his head. He then tried to leg sweep Naruto. Naruto jumped over the leg sweep and landed in a one-handed handstand. He then used his momentum to kick Orochimaru with his right leg. Orochimaru caught Naruto's leg, and threw Naruto over behind him. As Naruto flew, he made a shadow clone behind him. Using it as a platform, Naruto launched off the shadow clone back at Orochimaru as it dispelled. Orochimaru ducked under the slice from Naruto, then punched him in the gut. The speed was what got Naruto. Naruto hunched over slightly, but then his hand shot up, punching Orochimaru square in the face and sending him flying backwards. Naruto wasted no time, blurring behind Orochimaru. Chakra blade. He released his blade of chakra and it hit Orochimaru in the back, just as Orochimaru turned into a log. Substitution, Naruto thought as he heard a kunai whizzing through the air. Using wind chakra as an assistant, Naruto maneuvered in mid-air, just dodging the kunai that was aimed for his head. Then, Naruto flipped and landed. Just as he landed, he felt a hand on his ankle and before he knew it, he was pulled into the earth. The Naruto in the earth then promptly disappeared in a plume of smoke. Orochimaru waited in the shadows of the trees for Naruto to make his move and alert him to his presence. Though Orochimaru could not detect him, he knew Naruto would soon make the first move. Call it instinct. Orochimaru quickly jumped from his branch as a sword went through where he just was. At this time, the branch promptly burst in an explosion of wind, splinters flying everywhere. Naruto grabbed a sharp stake of wood in mid-air, hurling it at Orochimaru. With no time to react, Orochimaru held up his arm as the stake dug deep into it. He grit his teeth as he fell, but Naruto wasted no time. Making a shadow clone in the air, the clone grabbed Naruto by his ankles, spinning him once, then hurling him at Orochimaru. Naruto flew through the air at high speed straight to Orochimaru, his sword ready to thrust open his skull. As he reached Orochimaru, he thrust the sword as his head. Orochimaru rolled his head to the left to dodge, and Naruto smirked. Wind scythe. Tiny wind blades formed in an instant on Naruto's blades, then exploded in a small outburst. The thing was, the sword was right beside Orochimaru's neck. And with that, Orochimaru's head fell right off and then he promptly turned into mud. Earth clone, Naruto thought as he heard a large poof sound behind him. He knew the sound too well. He turned while descending to see a large snake coming out of the smoke, rushing straight at Naruto. Naruto threw his sword at the snake, and was satisfied as it flew straight into its eye. The snake coiled in pain for a moment, before hissing and going back on course. Making no seals, Naruto whispered a single word. Disappear. Naruto apparat, removing himself from existence. But in a second, he appeared behind Orochimaru. Swordless, Naruto used taijutsu. His punch aimed at Orochimaru's head was grabbed, then taken to the side, opening his guard as Orochimaru kneed him on the head. Naruto stumbled backwards on the snake's scales before he repositioned himself. He then rushed Orochimaru once more. Naruto jumped, spinning, then attempted an axe kick on Orochimaru. Orochimaru put his hand over his head, blocking the strike. Then, he grabbed onto Naruto's ankle and using his other hand, he hit his knee. Hard, Arara. Naruto screamed as his knee bent the wrong way. Orochimaru smirked, pushing it more the other way, just waiting for Naruto's breaking point. Satisfied as the screams continued, Orochimaru threw Naruto off the snake. Then, he jumped after him. In mid-air, Orochimaru opened his mouth, as the sword of Kusanagi flew out, the blade glinted with poison. The blade drew closer, splicing at Naruto through his chest. The sword protruded from the other side. Naruto screamed in agony at the pain as they flew. Orochimaru used his momentum, pushing Naruto farther, and as they fell, he pinned him to the tree with his sword, letting it come out of his mouth. He then stuck to the tree right under Naruto. Naruto continued to scream as the poison began to spread, but he could feel the Kyuubi's chakra as it came to his aid, neutralizing the poison. Soon, the snake summon came closer as Orochimaru jumped back onto its head. As he jumped, he yanked Naruto's sword out of its eye. Kukuku, what impressive craftsmanship! With that, he placed the sword down as the snake moved ever closer to Naruto. When they were within a foot distance, Orochimaru held up his left hand, and just so the Kyuubi won't help you here, 5-pronged seal, and with that, Orochimaru slammed his fingers into Naruto's gut. Naruto coughed up blood at the impact, then Orochimaru reached for his sword, ready to pull it out. That was when Naruto made his final move. Naruto in a flash reached out with his gauntlet hand, grabbing Orochimaru's wrist, and holding him in place. This was a surprise to Orochimaru as his eyes widened momentarily. Then, with a tense of his hand, Naruto's hidden blade released, plunging itself into Orochimaru's wrist. Orochimaru's eyes widened more, and some pain was seen. But Naruto only used this as a slight distraction. With his right hand, he reached into his cloak, pulling out the seal. And in a flurry of movement, he attached it to Orochimaru. Orochimaru screamed as the pain seared, smoke rising from his chest as the seal began to glow red. Naruto's hand was still on the seal, as he forcefully pulled on the Kyuubi's chakra, even though he was sealed. It took all his willpower, but he was able to draw on it. From the willpower he was using, he would have drawn at least 5 taels worth of power without the seal, but because of it, he was barely drawing upon the power of 1 as he overloaded the seal. An explosion of red chakra occurred, eclipsing the entire battlefield. XXXXXX Sasuke and Sakura sat on a tree branch, still panting. That was, for the most part, the most terrifying experience of their lives. If Naruto had not shown up, then Sasuke did not know what would have happened. Sakura looked at the light that had just eclipsed the area. It was a demonic red. Naruto, she thought, will he be okay? Sasuke just watched as the red chakra expanding, forming a sphere and becoming a monstrous size. Then, a pillar of red shot up into the sky. It stayed for a few moments, before the red chakra died off. Sakura released her breath, which she just noticed was held, and Sasuke looked towards the battlefield, then stood. Sasuke. Where are you going? Sasuke stood, not looking at Sakura as he spoke, to go help Naruto. What? Are you crazy? Sakura. This caught Sakura off guard as he said it so calmly. It was surprising, he had never heard Sasuke say her name like that. Naruto looks at enemies with no fear in his eyes. He faces those who are older and stronger than him, with nothing holding him back. No fear, no anxiety. If I am not like him, then how will I ever be able to avenge my clan? Sasuke, even if I do die, I will die knowing that at least I did not die a coward. And with that, Sasuke jumped towards the battle location. Mindscape. Pitiful Naruto could not stand. Not even in his own mind it pained him too much. Though he was trained to withstand such pain, he had never had to withstand it without the Kyuubi's chakra. If you cannot stand, how do you expect to unseal the pitiful elemental seal he placed on you? Naruto had no answer. You are not stronger than him, you should have known, you foolish boy. Naruto, though his face hidden, met the gaze of the Kyuubi. They locked eyes, neither side faltering. You are a fool. XXXXXXXXXX. Naruto lay on the ground, a pool of blood around him. His vision was blurred, going darker and darker as the blood seemed to keep coming out. He had a hole in his chest from Kusanagi, and his outfit was charred, leaving his whole chest and stomach exposed. His mask had cracked in half, so half of his face was visible. His hood slightly burned, but it still slightly veiled his face. Naruto looked to his left, seeing the seal glowing bright red. He smirked. He had succeeded. But at what price? Would he die here? Was this where it would all end? A voice broke through Naruto's thoughts. It is time for you to become. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to share this video with your friends. Guys, make sure to help the author by visiting the link in the description. This is Foxsage, and I'm signing off.